overcoming sin. We're continuing the study of the letter to the Romans, and we're looking at chapter 6.
And we have been talking about justification by faith and faith alone. So should we worry about our actions then? What we do? Is it fine if we keep on sinning, according to Paul? Is there any victory over sin in the life of the one who's been saved by Jesus? These are the kind of questions we're asking this week.
When people come to Jesus, we usually ask, what should I do? What should I do to get eternal life? Jesus was asked. And he tried to explain that it's not so much about what we do, but about who we are. And Paul is getting into the same line of thoughts here.
Sin continues to be a dominating power in this world, and there's no question about that. However, the way Paul describes our relationship with sin is as we have died to sin. How and when, you might ask? When we were baptized, Paul explains, we have buried our old self into death. The body that is ruled by the sin, Paul says, is buried into death. Regardless, sin doesn't just automatically disappear from our lives. So, what does Paul really mean?
I love how Paul puts it in the opening of chapter 6. After pointing that it's all about Jesus, and that where sin abounded, grace abounded even more, to those speculating with it, he says, shall we go on sinning so that grace may increase? By no means. We are those who have died to sin. How can we live in it any longer? When you have died for something, it doesn't rule over you anymore. It doesn't have dominion over you. But as the lesson points, not being ruled by sin isn't the same as not having to struggle with it.
Yeah, Paul considers that those of us who are alive to God in Jesus Christ are dead to sin in verse 11. Naturally, it's not possible to be alive to both God and sin. Being alive to God is achievable only if we deny the reigning power of sin over our body. How? Our will takes power over sin, says Paul, and chooses not to offer any part of ourselves to sin as an instrument of wickedness. Our will produces a choice for God daily as an instrument of righteousness. The strength of our will to make choices is empowered by God's grace, not by the weak power of the command of the law.
It's our choice that got us away from God and enslaved us into misery. Through Jesus, we are given the choice to be restored and to give ownership back to our Creator. Whoever owns us, shapes us, and makes us who we are. Our power is our choice.
Paul has come to a conclusion in verse 16 that when you offer yourselves to someone as obedient slaves, you are slaves of the one you obey, sin or obedience. So overcoming sin, something that we're talking in this lesson, is by offering yourself to obedience from the heart to the doctrine, says Paul, to which you were delivered. Or with simple words, it means that we love and live what Jesus has taught, his teachings. This is what sets us free from sin.
Any teaching, any understanding that shifts the focus away from what Jesus is doing for us is shifting the rulership and changes everything. If we think that Jesus is not enough, or that Jesus is just the beginning, we are on a very wrong slope.
And Paul draws one more drastic conclusion before he ends up his thoughts. Namely, that when you were slaves of sin, you were free from the control of the righteousness, he says. But now that you have been freed from sin, you have become slaves of God. One frees you from the power of the other. Isn't that amazing? Sin has no more dominance over my life, over my body, because God has. Does it mean that I am sinless? Does it mean that I'm not going to be struggling with sin anymore? No and no. It means that I have chosen what benefit I would expect at the end, according to my choice of servanthood. The wages of sin is death. The gift of God is eternal life. So, it all comes to who do you choose to serve? He will set you free from the other one.
The end of chapter 6 says a lot too. For the wages of sin is death, but the gift of God is eternal life. Notice that the wage is used just for one side. If we are looking for something that we can achieve or do, we are looking for a wage. But what we get from God is a gift. Regarding our choice and our part, it's all in the sensitivity of what is being done for us. Even our choice is not our merit. We know how to choose the easy way around, the things that we are used to. But how do you choose something that you don't understand? How do you choose to lose control over your life, the control that we think that we have? God puts all His energy to reach to us, to help us see how much He loves us, how badly He wants to help us. He takes on Himself to endure our rejections and our infidelities, just so we can get a chance to make the choice to give Him a try. What a God we have.
Paul has more things to say. So join us next week for the lesson, Who is the Man of Romans 7?